we didn't have enough money to buy anything, including food. And I developed this belief that there wasn't enough money and that it was scary to have money. 6 years old. And so much money has come into my life and out of my life. You know, and I thought I wanted to blame it on the circumstances that were happening around me. But no, I was doing the spending, overspending. I was making the, what do I say here, the bad investments. I was doing the losing. It was validating my belief that I had come to know and trust. Money is scarce and scary. So what is your relationship with money? What messages did you pick up in childhood, or did you see in childhood? You know, some of us had a positive experience. That's great. But many of us didn't. And abundance is about so much more than money. It's about relationships. It's about work, health, religion, sexuality. We all picked up those messages when we were just little people. And we often carry those messages into adulthood. Author and astrologer Yasmin Boland says, negative patterns and limiting beliefs can significantly impact our lives and prevent us from reaching our full potential. These patterns and beliefs can come from various sources, including past experiences, childhood conditioning, and even societal expectations. Negative patterns like self-sabotage, procrastination, or fear of failure can all hold us back. Limiting beliefs such as, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve happiness, or I can't change, keep us stuck in a negative loop, making it challenging to move forward. Those negative patterns and limiting beliefs can hold us back, keep us from our full potential. Those childhood messages that we received and witnessed turned into beliefs that continue to play out in our lives until we become aware. And when we become aware of what happened and the loop that's going on, then we can affect change in our lives. You know, I believe that every single person here, every single person on the planet has a fundamental desire to live a life of joy and abundance and beauty and connection. And I think we have that fundamental belief because that's who we are. We are that joy and that abundance and that beauty and that connection. That's the truth about who we are, because we are one with the one presence. We are a child of that source energy. We are a spark of that divine light. Reverend Scott Aubrey says, oh wait, I missed something, hang. You know, we're looking for meaning and connection and joy in our lives. And that, to me, is a definition of prosperity. But I wanted to bring in Reverend Scott Aubrey and his definition of prosperity. The greatest definition of prosperity I've seen is that of spiritual well-being. Spiritual well-being. Prosperity involves the whole experience of a healthy life, satisfying love, abiding peace and harmony, as well as an abundance of substance of money. But often we are so preoccupied with the demonstration of jobs and bank accounts that we forget that each of us is a whole person in a whole universe. A spiritual well-being, that's prosperity. And so how do we attain spiritual well-being? I think the most sound and trustworthy way to experience prosperity is by connecting our lives to that divine presence that's within us. You know, at one point in my life, I was this close to being homeless. Luckily, I had a friend who let me sleep in her camper, and that first night, I was terrified. I had nothing. I had no money, no bank account, no job. I had no place to live. And I was really scared. I was terrified. I didn't know what I was going to do, and at one point in the middle of the night, I remembered who I was. And I began to breathe, and I began to sleep. And every day after that, I knew that I couldn't stay in that fear. I knew I couldn't let it get me. I knew I had to stay in that place within me, that place that I knew where divine presence resided. I had to keep my eyes focused on the truth. And every day, in every way, I did everything that I could to stay focused. Meditation, prayer, listening to music, reading books, whatever it took to keep me focused and stayed on spirit. And it worked. In 6 weeks, I had a good paying job in my own apartment. Pretty amazing, pretty amazing. And I did it with spirit. Our small, limited, egoic mind wants us to play safe and wants to remind us of all those things, that we're not good enough or we don't have enough or we can't be enough. It wants to remind us often every day. So every day we have to be on our guard. And we have to tell that ego mind, no, I'm in charge. I'm in charge of my thoughts. Because it wants to tell us not to take risks and just be safe. I'm in control. No, I'm in control with my divine presence. So living from our limited mind is living from the outside in. And if we live from the outside in, there is so much chaos and confusion going on in the outside world. It's not a good place to stay, for any length of time. We really have to get back and remember the truth and remember who we are. Louise Hay said that the universe can only give us what is in our consciousness, in our awareness. And we can make mental deposits into our cosmic consciousness bank account by doing meditation, prayer, and affirmations. Our thoughts and our feelings are based on our belief system. Our belief system is the whole of our consciousness. It's all about consciousness. Raymond Hollowell, in his book, Working with the Law, says there is a law of thinking, just as there is a law of gravity, laws of nature, laws of physics. He says thought is an unlimited force, and that as we grow in understanding and the right use of thought, we will learn to banish ills, to establish establish good in every form we may desire. The right use of thought is an unlimited force. And we are in control of our thoughts, right? Every second of every day, we're in control. Not me. Monkey mind or stress we can be in control of our thoughts as much as we possibly can, as much as we can remember every day to stay out of what's going on out here, stay in here, stay in the truth. Because we can tame our minds. We can engage in right thinking. It takes desire. I'm ready for this. It takes intention. I am doing this right now. And it takes focus every day to remember to do it every day, or to be it. Right consciousness is built on our thoughts, and our thoughts are established in our beliefs. It took me years to heal that childhood wound around money and raise my abundance of consciousness. And living from the inside out is a practice of trusting in the divine presence and trusting that there is a divine plan, not only for our lives, but for the life on the planet and the life in the universe and beyond. There is a plan. There is divine order. And we can transcend our human mind. We can rise above. That's what transcend means. To rise above, go beyond our human mind. To rise out of our ordinary thinking with our mind getting caught up in limitation, fear, doubt, skepticism. We go beyond our human mind and begin to listen and work with that inner presence, with that inner wisdom, with that I am presence, with our higher wisdom self, whatever you want to call it. We have a human body and human affairs, but we are also divine, made of God stuff. And God stuff is energy. And that energy of God stuff is consciousness. It's all about consciousness. And it's not out here somewhere. God's not out here. Consciousness is everywhere, but it's also right here. It is right here within you. Right here within you. You can hear your voice. And when it's really wise and says things like, wow, that must be my higher wisdom self, because I never would have thought of that. You know, we lose our connection with that higher wisdom self because that ego voice is sometimes so loud. And we have to rise above that. Oren is a spirit guide channeled by Sanaya Roman. And it says, our divinity is like a ball of light, this ball of light within us. And as we court a relationship with that divine presence, the ego voice gets quieter and quieter. It's like petals. The ego are like petals that are covering your light, just thin petals, diminishing your light. And as we heal, and as we let go of those limited beliefs, these petals begin to open up and fall away, and our light becomes brighter and brighter and stronger. Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all things will be added. Establish a relationship with the divine, the kingdom, and then all the things you could ever imagine or ever need or ever desire will be created in the physical world through right thinking. A consciousness of prosperity expands when we are connected with the God self. This is living from the inside out rather than the outside in. Living in close contact with the indwelling spirit. It takes courting that presence, but it takes a lot of trust. Because as I mentioned, sometimes you'll hear things and you just have to question it. Take a new way to work. What? Who said that? Was that me? Was that the divine presence? What do I do? So you either listen to that small voice and get to work on time, or you don't listen to the voice and maybe you're late because there was a traffic issue. I mean, you never know. You never know. But when you hear that voice say something random like that, sometimes it's a good idea to listen. Because it is that still small voice. And the more we follow these urges, these thoughts, we develop a closer relationship with that divine presence. You know, we have to court the divine presence. It's like making a new friend. You spend time together. You ask them questions. You call them up all the time to find out how they are. You can do that with your divine presence too. Let's get to know each other. And as we are lifted up, as our light becomes brighter, as our consciousness is raised, we raise up all life on the planet because it's energy. We are energetic beings, and as we are more conscious and coming from spirit, we are going to raise up everything. And I don't know about you, but everything is quickening. Everything is changing so quickly. And I have led that meditation, that peace meditation, for over 20 years, and every year I said, in my lifetime, there will be peace on earth. And I'm beginning to believe it big time now. Whew. And as we become more connected and more prosperous, we might have this urge to do good in the world, to take our gifts out into the world in a bigger way. Because, you know, we used to have avatars and gurus, you know, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha. So many gurus and avatars have come to visit us to remind us who we are. And now it's us. We're here to remind each other. We're here to lift each other so that we can, if every single person goes out in this world today, it changes the way life shows up. It's amazing. Okay. Albert Einstein said, when something vibrates, the electrons of the entire universe resonate with it. The electrons are the basic building blocks of life. When they resonate, everything is connected. The greatest tragedy of human existence is the illusion of separateness. So easy to get caught up in separateness because we look separate. But there's just one thing happening here, and that's God's life. And so as we think and as we feel, these electrons vibrate and we send them out, and we get to choose, what am I sending out today? What am I sending out in this moment? Is there a way that I can up-level this even just a little bit? I'm feeling depressed today. Can I move that up the scale to a better feeling so that I can be more of a presence in the world, more of an assistance to the energy going out in the world? You know, most of us go back and forth between those two things, don't we? From getting caught up in the stuff in our lives and remembering who we are. That's just normal. We're going to do that. But if we can do it less and less, our lives will be more prosperous and the life on the planet will be better for everyone. And it takes, as I mentioned, it takes dedication, it takes practice, lots and lots of practice, and just remembering. Going back to Oren, he says, your consciousness determines how you think and feel. Your thoughts and feelings determine the condition of your relationships and the activities you choose. Each time you contact your soul and divine self, your consciousness expands. You draw to you more harmonious and abundant circumstances. Each time you contact your divine self, your consciousness expands. I love that. You just have to make contact, and your consciousness expands. Each time you make space in your mind to hear that voice. As I was contemplating this talk over the past month, I have the honor of having a month to create a talk. I can't do it, imagine doing it weekly like Reverend Rick does. So I had a month to contemplate this talk, and I was drawn to a book, and I don't know why, because I've heard of it before and I've just never picked it up. It's called Everyday ESP, A New Way of Living by Jose Silva Jr., who's writing about his father, Jose Silva Sr., who is known for the Silva mind control method. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. It's a mixture of meditation techniques and exercises he began developing and experimenting with his children, he had 8, I believe, in the early 1940s. So his method is designed to help people get into the ideal brain state. You know, we have different brain waves, and the ideal brain wave is the alpha brain state. The alpha brain state is when you're in a deep state of relaxation. And he introduced the idea of doing our visualizations and our affirmations in this alpha state. So I went to DIYgenius.com to read about alpha brain waves. And it says they're characterized by an alert yet calm mind. You're not so relaxed you could go to sleep, but you're also not too distracted by thoughts or worries. Occupying the space between focused and sleepily unaware is a creative oasis. Alpha is the creative oasis. The alpha mind is the perfect time to do your affirmations, to say your prayers, to have that conversation with Spirit. Because your mind, there's no resistance in your mind when you're in alpha. There's no thoughts or worries. And so it gets deep in your deep consciousness. Most of the time, we do our thinking in the beta state, which is where we are right now. We're awake, we're alive. Well, most of you are awake, I think. You're alive, you're thinking, you're planning, you're creating. That's the beta state. And that's where we make most of our decisions and create new ideas. But what if we had fewer meetings and more meditations? Using our creative mind, going into that place where we could create in a state of non-resistance. Silva says the alpha frequencies are the strongest, most energetic, most stable of them all, and the ideal level for thinking. It's tricky to think in alpha because it's right on that edge of falling asleep. You're almost falling asleep. You've just awakened in the morning. That's the alpha state. Or you're sitting in a deep meditation. Or you're even just walking in nature. Those get you into an alpha state. What Silva did, he created a way to stay more conscious when you're in that creative, intuitive alpha state. And that's really fascinating information, because when we live from the inside out, when we're open to that still small voice, that's when we can catch those creative urges and those divine messages. Silva claimed he could improve creativity and intuition, and he called it mind control. Through his signature meditation, he was basically teaching people to develop and use their intuition on demand. On demand. So if Jose Silva's mind control piques your interest, you can check him out online. I have to admit, I forgot to go to his website, silvanow.com, so at your own risk. So let's recap. Negative patterns and limited beliefs can keep us from reaching our full potential. These patterns and beliefs are usually formed in childhood. So take some time this week to contemplate your childhood. Are some of the messages that you received still at work in your life? You know, we deserve, and we can begin right now to have a more prosperous life every day in every way. What is a prosperous life? Spiritual well-being. We can transcend our lower human ego and begin to develop a better relationship with that inner, higher wisdom. We can begin to listen and trust to that still small voice. The right use of thought is an unlimited force. We can tame our mind with desire, intention, and focus. Our consciousness is built on our thoughts, and our thoughts are established in our beliefs. And last, each time you connect with your divine self, your consciousness expands. We connect each day by being still, being quiet, courting the presence. We are energetic beings, and as we are lifted up, all life is lifted up. Living from our limited human mind is living from the outside in. Living from our divine mind is a life lived from the inside out. And I want to end with the sacred reading that you heard. I'm going to repeat it again because I think it's so important to hear. It's by Eric Butterworth in his book, In the Flow of Life, which is a great book. Little book. The great truth taught by the mystics of all ages is, life is lived from within out. This means that the whole universe is concentrated at the point where you are. More than this, you are the universe, expressing as you. You are its living enterprise. It forever stands behind you with its full resources. However, the fullness of this universal support comes through you, not just to you. The most profound knowledge that you can attain is that your whole existence flows forth inexorably from a universal process, which is always from within out. Never forget that eternal light that you are. I wish I had a little ball or something instead of my hand, or a light bulb that would light up. That would be cool. That you are that light. You are that bright, perfect, eternal light. Blessed be.
Kids, you can dance too, if you want, you know. Here we go, Lord, you are good. People from every nation.
People from every nation and tongue, from generation to generation, we worship you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you are. We worship
so good. Lord, you are good.
Lord, you are good.